Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bajaj, for a wonderful introduction to the subject and also introducing the eminent speakers for this webinar today. It's very timely because Indian power sector, and for that matter, power sector all over the world, we are going through a very rapid technological changes phase, and that has necessitated revisiting some of our age-old approaches. I mean, we lived with certain type of movement of capacity additions, operations of systems that we became familiar with. Also, considering our own energy resources, depended heavily on our local fuel, the coal. And as a result, we have made wonderful developments. Actually, coal is the main energy resource for India, and the capacity that we built over last more than 50 years, and particularly in last 20 years. In last 20 years, we have added to our capacity, which was about 100,000 megawatt when we entered this century, to over 400,000 megawatt now. And much of it is in terms of energy. Capacity-wise, the profile could differ and percentage profile could differ. But so far as the energy unit is concerned, kilowatt hour is concerned, coal continues to be our major energy resource, coal-based power plant. Slowly, the capacity profile is changing, the profile mix is changing, and therefore proportion will reduce. Proportion will reduce over many years. Why this subject of what do we do with the backing down of power plants? Though solar capacity is in the range of about 50 to 60,000 megawatt, and as I said that its contribution today is comparatively less, yet during the daytime when it gives substantial amount of megawatt hour or kilowatt hour, and then in the evening it is not available, a flavor of challenge is felt. The challenge is not so huge today. It's just a flavor, you can say, or a trailer, you can say, trailer of challenge and trailer of technical problems that will come. What it has resulted in, that many of our thermal plants, when they see the consumption profile and when they see the variations, and that those variations are today, as I said, is a marginal variation because the capacity which is likely to be injected from solar and other renewables would be much larger in not too long a time frame. In a time frame of 10 years, there will be substantial difference in the proportion of these capacities. So therefore, in a way, it is giving us a learning curve. We are understanding what it means and trying to adjust our load dispatch centers, our system operator, national system operator. They are understanding fully. They understood it otherwise also on paper, but now they understand fully how the things will undergo change. So the next 10, 15 years is going to be very crucial because these are the years where we have enthusiasm of adding these capacities. We have the compulsion of adding these capacities. Maybe after some time it might plateau. When we have our land requirement, huge land requirement, when we have done, let's say, 400, 500,000 megawatt of solar in the country, and after that, the potential today is more than 700, 750,000 megawatt. But when we add 400 to 500,000 megawatt of solar, and also hybrid wind and solar, then you can say that will be the critical mass. That will be the most important critical mass to reflect the impact. Today's impact is a trailer type of impact. There's a marginal impact because proportion is much less, even though during daytime the capacity is available. So in this period, transition period, and maybe first few years of transition period, it is giving us a good background and a good learning curve type of background to understand and to adjust and to do things the way we need to do. But the work that has been done by the Central Electricity Authority that's a very wonderful work that has projected what might happen, what will happen, and how do we adjust. I think some of the additional things that need to be done. I mean, we need to look at how do we manage the transition in next 10 to 15 years, because nobody can predict reliably today what would be the other energy resources that would become available in a time frame of 10 to 15 years. What will happen to battery? What will happen to the initiatives that we have taken under this pump storage and several hydrogen, so many initiatives parallelly, so many initiatives globally, so many initiatives at India level have been taken. Because this transition under the background of such substantial emergence of solar, this transition is felt all over the world, as I said. So therefore, 10 to 15 years will be very crucial. And after 10 to 15 years, we may have to revisit some of the things that we are doing now or we are preparing for based on what are the technological availabilities that come. Maybe in 15 years, Dr. Grover is here. We are trying to give a big boost at policy level, trying to give a big boost at narrative level, a big boost to nuclear. So the nuclear profile also will serve as the base load. So, but that is not something that will come in 5 years or alone. It will take some time. And so will be the case for, as I say, pump storage and and hydrogen. So how do we manage this time phase of time duration of next 10 to 15 years? And this has to be an exercise totally quantified. And in that, my view is that we should try to really understand what will be the consumption, because parallelly our consumption is increasing. Some of the age-old energy consumption centers are changing to power, like transport will change in a big way. Diesel locomotives, cars, commercial vehicles, the electricity will be needed as compared to what they are doing today in a large way on the diesel or petrol. So therefore, 10 to 15 years, a very intimate understanding how the consumption is going to increase and how the demand for power is going to increase. This is one dimension which is very important. Second dimension again, which is very important, is that we should analyze this consumption in terms of seasonal variations and in terms of 24-hour variation. And in so doing, an additional factor is coming. And if it is not coming, it needs to come. Time has come when, some talk has started, some action also has started, but not in the manner it needs to start. And that is entire rural electricity supply on irrigation must shift to solar and decentralized solar, not ultra mega project solar, not needing an additional challenge to manage the grid, but locally to take care of and we have to advise our farmers. In good old days, we used to tell them, do your irrigation at 12 o'clock in the night because our demand in the evening is very high. And now we should say they should do their irrigation during daytime. So that means, how do we rearrange our consumption of electricity during seasonal variations and during 24-hour variation? And that has to come not by administrative diktat. That has to come by several policy impulses which might encourage people to do this. One may be persuasive, one may be advisory, another may be something which can motivate them to do. And in 15 years time frame, when we see load increase, demand increase, per capita increase, seasonal variations, all types of analysis of load curve, daytime, seasonal, and then try to see what will be the load on the thermal. Because all alternatives, I am presuming, all other alternatives like battery or like pump storage are not things which will come nuclear, are not things which will, or hydrogen. They are not things which will be abundantly available in this time frame, 10 to 15 years time frame. So this 10 to 15 year time frame, then the demand on the subject that we are talking, that is the backing down. That means the thermal is available, and how do we back down? Some exercises have been done. I have also been personally associated with some of these exercises in reviewing and trying to motivate people. The best that I have seen is bringing it down to 35%. The plant that I did, the Anu plant I did long back, is a small plant, but they have brought it down to 35%, 40%. I mean, there are several exercises have been done backing down. The backing down, again, there, the suggestion could be that as it is backing down, with some retrofit backing down. Can the capacity, can these plants be empowered with some additional capacity, checking with designers, checking with BHL, checking with others, so that without any technological input in terms of retrofit, what is the level to which you can back down? And with some capex, what is the level you can back down? So that is another exercise that will be helpful. Not in every plant that might be possible, but many plants that might be possible. So that is another, and then perhaps we can incentivize. Another thought is that we are taking too much time. I mean, when you have to do cold start, we are taking too much. Then we shut down and then we bring back. Can there be something with the present capacities that they have? Can something be done again with retrofit? That this time duration of bringing back the unit is reduced from 10, 15 hours to, let's say, much less. Maybe quickly it comes. Otherwise, you can't have switch on and switch off like gas station that you do. So some of these things, it should not be taken as a subject in general for all time to come, but with a very focused action, gradually in the time frame that we are faced with. Solar has already emerged, solar is already there, and the challenge is there. What do we rearrange the things in terms of consumption, and how do we rearrange things in terms of bringing some degree of response, a better response, with or without retrofit, not in all plants, but in many plants on the thermal side. So these are some of the thoughts that I thought I should share with you. The rest of the things we will hear from the experts. And I must appreciate a good work has been done under the leadership of the Central Electricity Authority. And as we go along, this is something which is a challenge, and we can always, this is not something, it's a one-time exercise. This one-time exercise will have to be revisited based on something we do, and we see the implications. It will have commercial implications, it will have technical implications, it may have regulatory implications, so many implications. So, and it cannot be just by diktat. We will have to make a market-based response also. That means you encourage market, you encourage the developers, you encourage the plant owners to respond positively to the thoughts that we try to introduce in the whole subject. So with that, I end, and then I'll come back again after question hour. Thanks a lot. I revisited that figure, both your charts, as of today and what is projected to be in 2030.
Yes, sir.
See, I mentioned to you that I often go to the Ministry of Power and I go to the control room. And so much of capacity is not available because of maintenance, either post outages or planned outages.
Right.
So today, you are meeting a requirement of 120,000 megawatt with about 220,000 coal-based generation, something like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is going to be much larger. It is going to be something like 300 and something you added in 2029-30. My hypothesis is that the coal-based and lignite-based generation that you are projecting for 2030 would be completely inadequate, not inadequate, completely inadequate. Because don't take peak hour in absolute terms. You are right. You take the peak load when solar is not available. And earlier I was thinking that wind will back up, but do you know that in most part of the year, wind also does not back up in the evenings.
Yes, sir.
So that means you are only on solar. So out of all the things that we have discussed today, the projection of coal-based generation in 2030 capacity,
is inadequate.
according to me, is the most dangerous projection. Most dangerous. Because even today, with the capacity that we have, to meet 120,000 megawatt, I had load setting that day, the day I visited the Ministry of Power. And I asked people that why is it so? So about 30,000 megawatt was out on maintenance, etc. etc. So I think in the whole discussion today, according to me, that is number one point. And I will separately write to CA chairman on this,
Okay.
on behalf of India Energy Forum, that perhaps this projection of demand, peak demand in evening hours, and therefore supporting the capacity from coal appears to be completely inadequate. So kindly revisit. Kindly
Okay.
revisit.
Okay.
This is number one. Number two, the presentations made by you and Malik, I mean, they are very good presentations. We have captured very many points. But this Ramesh Babu presentation gave further details of how it will be damaging, how it will create the problem of technical difficulties, the maintenance, the life of the machines, etc., and the care that has to be taken. And Anil Razdan made a very good, important point that we need to retrain our people to take care of these things. But the cost aspect, see, it is no good passing it on to regulatory commission. We have to work out the total burden. Finally, regulatory commission will make a pass through to the consumers. As it is, consumers are saying the transmission cost is a pass through, this is a pass through, that is a pass through. So I think the picture that it is generating somehow in the totality, it is not being projected at the narrative level that such a massive increase and such a fast exponential increase with consequential problems that it will create in such a short time, that picture is not emerging. So I think that is a larger picture that we need to do. So I think this session, though we have all the experts who have attended and made their points, I think it has been very rich. It will be something on which we will write officially also to the Central City Authority. But all of you have made a wonderful contribution in today's discussion. Thank you very much.